Hey guys, I want to tell you about one of my favorite pieces of gear. That's the Digitakt by Elektron. If you haven't heard about this bad boy, essentially it's an 8-channel groovebox drum machine sampler. It's become very, very popular, obviously, like a lot of the Elektron stuff, but it has so much packed inside of this little baby box that it's one of the tools that I really don't think I could live without in my studio. Obviously, you know, it's sample based, so for me, for drums, that's actually something that's very valuable. I find that drum machines that have too much control, where you can push them too far in one direction or far in the other direction, which is usually also with a lot of analog stuff, I just find myself spending too much time tuning and trying to get the drums to sound right. But with this instead, I can just load in the samples that I want really quickly, and then all of a sudden, boom, I'm running off to the races. And for drums, for me, you know, drums are generally something that have more of a mechanical and more of a structural purpose in my music. So I don't want to spend too much time trying to fiddle with them. I want to really just get the results that I want quickly. And with sampling, for me, that really helps. Then on top of that, obviously, you do have a lot of controls within the samples if you want to get in there. It's just really natural sounding, and, you know, from the filters to the amplifier section, to the envelopes from the amp and the filter, LFOs and built-in effects, you really can get in there and just make the whole thing move and groove and really just come to life in so many different ways. That, plus the conditional triggers and the parameter locking, which is, you know, something that Elektron is known for, really just makes this thing a powerhouse. On top of that, you have 8 channels of Midi, so you can plug it into 8 other boxes, and all of a sudden, you know, you have a ton of stuff going on. It's a piece of gear that I like to use both in the studio and both live. I use it actually in the studio quite a bit, especially when I want to get to the sequencing side of it. Elektron sequencers are just so magical, and honestly, even if it didn't have the built-in sampling side and it was just the 8 tracks of Midi, I still think it would be valuable for the price point that it's at. I find myself all the time where I have a synth that I want to include in something, but it doesn't have a sequencer built into it, and it's just so easy to grab this from wherever and just like throw it in there, plug it into the back of the room, and poof, all of a sudden I'm getting all sorts of really great sequences and melodies from it. But then also live, it's a really great way for me to bring it through and to be able to control a lot of other hardware synths that don't have sequencers, or just a great way to splice in and get new drum sounds or new effect sounds and all sorts of stuff. It's really a beautiful, beautiful piece of gear. It's built really, really well. So, you know, metal, it's tough. I actually dropped mine recently, but it still works, so that's good. And it's just a beautiful piece of gear, so I highly recommend it. Thank you.